Greetings and salutations, Tube Dwellers. Welcome back to Heart of the Swarm. We've got a 1v1 lined up for you. This is going to be a first-person video. It's not cast live, though. Got the video in front of me right now. I'm commentating it after having played and recorded it. So hopefully the gameplay will be pretty solid. A Zerg versus Terran on Whirlwind LE. I am your host, the Mad Bag. The red Zerg spawning the top left. And the blue Terran spawning, as of yet, in an unknown location. This is a 4-player map, so he could spawn in the top right corner, bottom left corner, or bottom right corner. We'll see which it is soon enough. Played this game a little while ago today, so it's pretty fresh in my mind. I would say that up until this point, my standard in ZVT is a Ling Bane style supported by Mutalisks, and that is assuming that the Terran is going to do a either Marine tank or a Biomine kind of style. Marines and Marauders and Widow Mines, or just Marines and Siege tanks. If the Terran does some kind of mecha play, you'll really want to employ Roaches. At least that's my best knowledge of how to change your composition to account for the power of a mech army. Roaches are still quite a bit more mobile than the mech army too, so you can still abuse the mobility. And you can have the meat to face them directly, at least sometimes. So my standard, supposing that he's going Biomine, which is what most Terran players do, at least at this point in time in my games and my divisions. Supposing that he's doing that, my standard is to get Mutalisks out in the mid-game and not really use them aggressively. The mines kind of keep you from using Mutalisks aggressively, and Marines are pretty good against Mutalisks, and they can respond pretty well. If you're trying to aggress, they can respond defensively very well. So the plan is to get Mutalisks and then not use them offensively, but instead defensively. Try to use them just to keep drops from doing damage to you. And this works pretty well in pro matches, but I've proven not to be so good at using Mutalisks defensively. I'm very good at Mutalisk control when my focus is staying on them, but when my focus is staying on macro, and I have to use Mutalisks reactively and catch a drop or something, I tend to kind of forget about the Mutalisks. I get them in play a little bit late. I'll use them in direct engagements when I'm running in with my Ling Bling army, but then I'll lose track of them and I'll lose the mutas themselves. Suffice to say that in a defensive capacity, my control of Mutalisks has not felt stellar. So I've been doing a little theory crafting, and this is not at all something that I've seen in professional games. I actually think at the professional level it might be bad. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it really even attempted, so I haven't seen how a professional Terran would deal with it. But I've used it a couple times against Terrans in my own games, and it's worked pretty well. And that is to, instead of getting Mutalisks in the mid-game, get Hydralisks. Now, Hydralisks can be pretty good against drop defense, just in that they're really good against bio. They're really good against mines, because they can outrange the mines. And they can attack the medevacs. Now, Hydralisks, as opposed to mutas, you don't always kill the medevacs, so they're not as good on paper against drops, but they can respond to them pretty well. And with the Hydralisk speed, you can even be aggressive with them, which is the thing that made them absolutely non-viable before, like, say, in Wings of Liberty. You couldn't be aggressive with Hydralisks, so why would you get a defensive unit that you couldn't switch to aggression if you wanted? I'm going to scout him out. I saw a couple Marines here in the bottom right. So I know where his main base is, at least. And I've got Lings elsewhere on the map. It looks like I'm probably going to bring them all in to position them around his base. Keep tabs on as many things as I can. Both potential thirds. I'm also moving some Overlords into place to potentially dive into his base if I need to. So I'm developing a new default mid-game plan in ZVT. The Hydralisk instead of the Mutalisk. So for right now, you're going to see me focus very much so on my economy. I'm going to get some key pieces of technology in play. I am getting an evolution chamber before getting my lair. I'm also getting a Roach Warren in play. There's a lot of early Biomine pushes that have like between 2 to 4 Widow Mines with them that come around, say, the 7 or 8 minute mark, that that can do a lot of damage to just Zergling compositions or to Zergling Baneling compositions, especially because at that point you almost always have slow Banes. Having a big hit get off on your Banelings can be devastating. Having a hit get off and take out 8 Zerglings can be devastating. The numbers are really low, and numbers that big that early. They make a change in the battle. So I got the Roach Warren. Again, defensive measure. I may not even build any roaches. I'll likely only build a few if I do stay with my watchtower. See a Marauder Biomine kind of style moving out for an early push. The Terrans don't always do that, though. If they do anything greedy, if they do like a 3 command center opening, or if they're doing like a double engineering bay, you'll more than likely see them hang on, wait until a little bit later, wait until maybe they're 2-2 timing, and eventually push out with a bigger army that roaches don't necessarily do good against. In small numbers, the roaches soak those mine shots really well, but in larger numbers, the roaches kind of just get pushed to the wayside by the bio ball, and the difference in movement speed between the roach and the Zergling can make engaging with both simultaneously a little bit wonky. You kind of got to watch them and engage a little bit separately. Really consider their timing. I do get an Overlord into the main. I'm seeing a lot of barracks, and I saw a 3rd command center. It's finished, but it's not out yet. Right around this time, I actually looked up in the replay a couple numbers just to have them. Around the 8:30 mark, right when my 3rd hatch is being planted, which just happened, the Terran is actually only 4 workers behind me in the worker count. He's got 42, I've got 46. That is really close. The Zerg, that's not a comfortable place for the Zerg to be, honestly. With 3 command centers, with 3 orbital commands, he's got 3 mules, and that almost certainly puts his income ahead of mine, which is a dangerous spot to be in. If he moves that orbital out immediately, I mean, I've got a Zergling there, so I'm going to see when it does happen. But if he moves the orbital command out immediately, he could be mining off of his 3rd faster than me. My 3rd's not done yet. So, economically, I'm not sure I'm in the best spot. Tech-wise, I'm just now getting up the dual Evos. I actually started with 1 evolution chamber early and got some armor early, and then whipped out a 2nd, and now I'm double pumping the upgrades. So I've got 1 armor, I'm working on armor 2, and I'm working on 1 melee. And, now he's going to move his 3rd out. I see the 3rd hovering over my Zergling. My Zergling did stop it from planting down. I don't have burrow yet, though, so I can't really delay it real long. I can't force a scan to come out. But I can make him bring some units over there, and you guys saw that just happen. Down goes the command center. So his 3rd base is down. He could be muling that right now. He could be transferring workers over to it right now. That's a scary proposition, the idea that maybe I am behind on economy. You never want to be there as Zerg. Unless you have some kind of tech advantage, and that almost never happens because the Zerg tech tree kind of naturally progresses a little bit more slowly than the other 2 tech trees. So I'm going to take a couple workers out of my natural there and send them over to my 3rd. So I'm going to start mining on my 3rd relatively shortly after I'm sure he started mining on his. It's not a big difference. Might be enough to make a difference, though. We'll have to watch out for that. He gets a scan, he checks out my 3rd, he sees that I do have it, he sees that I have very few drones. That probably makes him feel pretty comfortable. Ooh, and this seems dangerous. It looks like in the game I may not be reading the situation quite as it is. The worker counts that I just now gave, I looked up in the replay afterwards. I have no way of telling right now how many workers he has without seeing them and counting them. And that can be unreliable because it's impossible to see all of his bases at once, count all of them. It would take a really long time to get an accurate count anyway. You'd have to kind of spot check. Do a glance count. So I'm putting up defenses, though. That uses some of my workers. Putting up defenses at the 3rd and in the main. I'm putting them up on the fringe as well to try to defend from drops. This is something that you shouldn't have to do if you have Mutalisks, but if you've got Hydras, you might want to do a little bit of this. And actually, I'm really popping out the defense. It looks like I'm sniffing a timing, and this is a pretty common timing. If the Terran hasn't really done a push yet, then this is going to be the timing he wants to do it. And it's most likely going to be a double engineering bay kind of push where he's got heavy upgrades and he's got a big force as he hasn't lost anything so far. Could be a very dangerous time for Zerg. My 4th hatch does go down. I also have a macro hatch down now. It's definitely going to help with the production. I'm not sure I'm going to be getting any kind of economy off that 4th quite yet, especially seeing as how my 3rd isn't saturated yet. I don't even have the gas there yet. Just focusing on mineral income until I can get the drone count up, and to ensure that I have enough overall content to work with whatever he's going to push out towards me with. And I believe, yeah, here comes my infestation pit. I'm going to go ahead and start moving towards Hive. This is not quite professional level timing. We're coming up on about the 14-minute mark, which, by the way, the Terran has a substantial army count advantage on me right now. I don't know in the game, but looking up from the replay, the army supply is 113 to 77. I am the 77. That Terran has 113 army supply right now. That army is much larger than mine. Looks like I'm going to move some Zerglings around. I wasn't necessarily going for the flank maneuver. I saw the tank count, though. It looks like it was sitting at about 5. And I'm going to move the Zerglings to intercept some reinforcements. This does 2 things. It keeps the ball that's currently out there from gaining additional momentum. And it can also distract him. It can pull some of his forces out of position. So I'm going to start getting Burrow. If that would have came earlier, I would have been a lot happier. I could deny his bases a little bit better. And oh, here I'm going in. I've got just the Banelings. I'm giving them a move command behind the bio. He's only got a couple of his tanks up front. There are more tanks moving up from the back. He didn't leapfrog them very well. Oh, and the Hydralisks are coming right up in his face. It looks like he's going to have the reinforcements to push me back, but that was a great engagement considering the Baneling hits that I got on his bio, considering that about half of his tanks weren't really in that fight, and I retained a lot of my Hydralisk numbers. If I lose all the Hydralisks, then continually spending the gas and the money in them can be a real sink, a real bad sink. But given that I kept them, and basically only lost Zerglings and Banelings, and the Banelings I lost efficiently, Zerglings are really cheap to lose. So I defend it. Amazingly. That is something that doesn't happen real often. If Zerg's not ahead in supply when Terran engages, a lot of times it doesn't turn out really well. So right now in this game, I feel like his macro has been better than mine up to this point. I have had insufficient macro, but the leapfrog maneuver on his tanks did not do him good justice. He's going to get a mine hit off. Looks like it killed a Zergling, did some damage to some Hydras. I'm going to do a little attack here. He's got enough to defend this, but I'm getting some good worker kills. Right after this Ling hit, our worker count levels out a little bit. He's going to have 70. I'm going to have 75 drones. So I'm a few ahead of him, and I am finally... I don't know that I'm fully saturated on all these bases, but I'm fully saturated on gas, and I've got some mineral saturation on my 4th. So I would say I'm at roughly a full 3-base saturation. Which even after that worker hit, he is too, especially with the mules. So our economy is somewhat even. The food count, not so much. Coming up on the 18-minute mark. My hive's done. I believe I've started a bit of tech. Yeah, it's building right now. The Ultralisk Cavern. My upgrades are also progressing beautifully. Something else I saw from the replay is that he was consistently 1 or 2 upgrades behind me. That's something else that helped that big engagement. He had 2 weapons, but only 1 armor when that happened. I only had 1 armor. I had 1 ranged for my Hydralisk, and I had 2 melee upgrades for my Zerglings and Banelings. Here we go. We got another big engagement coming out. Again, the army count is at a deficit. This time it's even larger. He has 116 army count. I have 62. This bio ball is enormous, but the bio ball has no mines. The bio ball has no tanks. It's just Marine and Marauder. The Baneling hits are devastating. Oh, I don't know that I can hold it, though. He comes out on top after the Banelings wash through. He's still got a lot of army. Again, I retain most of my Hydralisks. I have a lot of Zerglings in production. There are 72 Zerglings in production right now. We're getting ready to see the notification as they all pop out. 30 units complete, 42 units complete. Over there on the left side, the Zerglings are coming out from everywhere, and they get a natural surround. I didn't retain all of my Hydralisk numbers, but I've still got just a few of them in there firing. It looks like this is going to be enough to yet again defend the push. My money equilibrium looks like it's a little bit off as well. I've got quite a few minerals right now. I don't have a lot of gas. I'm a little bit late getting gas on my 4th base. When you get your 3rd base out, you want to make sure you get on 3 bases worth of mineral saturation really quickly. You don't necessarily want the gas right away. By the time you put out your 4th base, though, you want to get the gas on all 4 bases very quickly, because 3-base mineral is about as much mineral income as you need. But 4 base gas really allows you to start investing heavily in the tech. Oh, God. The Ultralisks are out. We've got a couple Banelings in the mix. This bio from him doesn't look that big. He knows he has to retreat. He's very heavy on Marines right now as well. The Ultralisk timing, while again not as quick as the pros, did come out at a perfect time. I'm going to be able to push him back. It looks like there's a little bit of engagement going on in the middle. I'm not really worried about it. I don't want to neglect my macros, so instead of trying to watch the engagement and make sure it's efficient, I'm just going to back up. I'm just going to retreat from the engagement. The fast Hydras allow me to do that. Everything else is pretty quick here. The Ultralisks are probably one of the slower things now. But they can engage decently. And he's pushing forward with too small of a force. It's very largely a Marine force still. He doesn't have nearly enough Marauders in there. He had more Marauders earlier when I hadn't quite gotten the Ultralisks yet. Losing some more Hydras here. Not good. Not losing the Ultras, though. I have some Ultras low on health. But again, I have Zerglings in the mix, and they're in the front. As long as you're losing Zerglings and not losing more expensive units, you can actually trade really cost-effectively as Zerg. Oh, that Baneling cluster, yes! Wiping the infantry out. He's having trouble dealing with it. I've got momentum, and he's feeding his line of army into me at a trickle. Very dangerous to do. I'm taking out some of these barracks in the front. I happen to know he does have a 4th base out to the right here. As a player in the game, I don't know that yet, though. I'm going to have to back off again. Again, all my Zerglings ran out. I don't want to be engaging and losing gas-heavy units. I'm going to do it a little bit right here. I do lose an Ultralisk off the front of that. I'm trying to get the other Ultralisks back while the Hydras do the damage. Oh, but the Zerglings come back into the mix. And as long as there are Zerglings in the mix, the engagements go my way. And Barksy, GG's. He can't take it. Victory again for the Mad Bag. Oh, and look at this. Time supply capped. Under a minute. Wow. For as long a game as that was, that seems pretty damn cool. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Resource collection rate. He was ahead of me the whole damn time. The whole time. Look at this. This is dropping mules off like 4, maybe even like 6 orbital commands. I know he had 2 additional command centers. I don't think they were orbitals. Yeah, this is dropping mules off 4 orbital commands at his 4th base. Even the worker count. Like, this doesn't always show anything, but look at this. He had a huge worker count advantage over me. You can see when I drone. Army value throughout that whole thing. All those engagements. I was way below him in army value. Somehow pulling the engagement out, though. I've got to, especially there at the end, I've got to blame that on a lack of tanks and mines. Tanks and mines are really what in the Terran army deals with masses of units. The bio is really just filler for the Terran army. The backbone is the tanks and the mines. Well, that's going to be it for this video, folks. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.